Sometimes the council deals with worldly matters as well. So the next question, I'm actually going to combine two of them. So we have the issue of the Madison sister city and the very big issue of peak oil running out.
What?
Peak oil.
Oh.
Did I say that correctly? Yes. Peak oil is the concept that we are running out of a finite. No. Product, whatever. So, what do you think about the council addressing those kinds of concerns? Do you think they're going to come up, and where will you stand?
Well, actually, we'll start with Sister Cities. Sister Cities program is a wonderful thing. It costs the city almost nothing, yet every year it ends up as a potential budget cut. Its budget, I think, was cut in half last year, and it's one of those places where the Kabuki Theater happens, where people come and advocate for it to be put back, and I think it's a place where it's waste time. I would just, support Sister Cities. It's minimal dollars. It broadens our city. It increases our reputation. It's good for business. It's good for tourism, and it's good for the culture of the city. Peak oil is one where I think actually we have a lot we can do about peak oil as a city. And I mean, it's not like voting on something like, stop the war in Afghanistan, which I would also support the city doing. But peak oil is something where, in terms of how we deal with sprawl and how we deal with development issues, that impacts oil usage. What we do with community gardens, what we do with urban agriculture, what we do with local sourcing and local buying, all of that, and energy sustainability, energy consumption in city buildings, in zoning codes and building codes, all that impacts peak oil. And and so in those ways, I think that sustainability has to be a priority, not only for our city, but for our entire society. I'll tell you something that very few people know about me, or some people know. When I was 16 years old, it was when the first oil crisis happened. And I looked at this and said, rational people will not have individual cars in the future. So I have never had a driver's license in my life. That's how I feel about peak oil. That was 34 years ago, and rational people are still having individual cars. So I'm not quite sure what's going on. But
I will say first, I think the Sister City money is good and minimal, so we should just accept it. I certainly support sustainability throughout the city and our whole culture, our whole society. I think, though, that your question was, as Micah answered it, was really about should the City Council take a stand on issues on which it doesn't have a direct effect. And sometimes I would say it can influence what happens. I think that when the city passed the minimum wage increase in the city, I mean, it changed the minimum wage in the state and, even arguably pushed for a change nationally. So that was definitely worth it. And I don't mind taking a stand on important public issues as long, I agree with Micah, as long as it doesn't take too long. If we're going to sit there for our 3 a.m. meeting, I really don't want to be spending 2 hours of it talking about things that we can't directly influence. I mean, if we could get it done quickly, maybe have a committee deal with it first and we just vote on it, sure, I'm fine with that.